The silence in space was about to end. Admiral Krixvar stood tall on the bridge of his massive warship. The Dominion's edge, his 6 eyes watched the viewing screen as small. Human ships moved slowly through the Centauri gateway. The alien admirals' sharp teeth showed in what humans might call a smile. Today would be a good day for the Zephyrian Empire. "Sir, the human convoy is entering our trap zone," said Sub-Commander Thises from his station. The younger officer's voice carried excitement. He had waited months for this chance to fight the humans. Krixvar nodded slowly. His long fingers drummed against the command chair. The humans thought they were safe. They thought their recent victories made them strong. Today would teach them how wrong they were. "Count the ships again," Krixvar ordered. 12 cargo vessels, Admiral, 2 escort ships. The escorts are old destroyers, nothing more. The Zephyrian admiral felt pleased. His spies had given him perfect information. The human convoy carried medical supplies to their outer colonies. The humans would not abandon their people, even when walking into death. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defender. His ship was one of the 2 escorts protecting the merchant convoy. The other escort was the UE's Guardian. Commanded by Captain Lisa Hayes, Morrison had served in the human navy for 15 years. He knew danger when he saw it. "Captain, sensors are picking up strange readings," said Lieutenant Danny Walsh from the tactical station. "Something big is out there." Morrison moved to the sensor display. The readings showed empty space, but his gut told him different. "Keep scanning, full spectrum." The cargo ships moved in formation behind the 2 destroyers. Their captains trusted the Navy to keep them safe. Morrison felt the weight of that trust. These people carried medicine that would save lives in the colonies. Failure was not an option. "Sir, we're getting interference on long-range communications," reported Sergeant Amy Carter from the communications station. "Someone is jamming our signals." Morrison felt his blood turn cold. Jamming meant only one thing. Battle stations. All hands to battle stations. The crew of the Defender moved quickly to their positions, weapons powered up, shields activated. The ship transformed from a peaceful escort into a weapon of war. On the Guardian, Captain Hayes received the same warnings. She opened a channel to Morrison. "Jake, are you seeing this?" "Copy that, Lisa. We're walking into something big." The 2 captains had fought together before. They knew each other's methods. Hayes was aggressive and direct. Morrison was careful and smart. Together they made a good team. "Should we turn the convoy around?" Hayes asked. Morrison looked at the cargo ships. "Those medical supplies would save thousands of lives." "Negative, we keep going. But stay ready." Admiral Krixvar watched the human ships continue forward. Good. The humans were brave, but stupid. Bravery without wisdom led to death. "All ships, prepare for attack pattern Omega-7, he commanded. Around the Dominion's edge. 29 other Zephyrian warships waited in silence. They were invisible to human sensors, hidden by advanced cloaking technology. The fleet included battlecruisers, destroyers, and fighter squadrons. It was enough firepower to destroy a small planet. Captain Zeth Moore commanded the battlecruiser Void Render. His ship was positioned to strike the cargo vessels first. The humans would watch their precious supplies burn before they died. Commander Yixtal led a squadron of destroyers. His job was to flank the human escorts and cut off their escape. The trap was perfect. "Human vessels are now in optimal position," reported the tactical officer aboard the Dominion's edge. Krixvar raised his hand. Around him, the bridge crew held their breath. This moment would be remembered in Zephyrian history. "All ships decloak, begin the attack." Space erupted in light and color. 30 Zephyrian warships appeared from nowhere, surrounding the human convoy. The merchant ships found themselves trapped in a circle of death. Gun ports opened, missile tubes armed. The air itself seemed to burn with energy. "Holy hell," whispered Lieutenant Walsh aboard the Defender. "Where did they come from?" Morrison's face went pale, but his voice stayed calm. "Get me a count. How many ships?" 30 contacts, sir. All hostile. We're outnumbered 15 to 1. The Zephyrian fleet was beautiful and terrible. Their ships were organic, looking like giant insects made of metal and crystal. Weapon systems glowed with deadly energy. Fighter craft swarmed around the larger vessels like angry bees. "Captain, recommend we signal surrender," said Walsh. "We can't fight." 30 ships. Morrison looked at the tactical display. The young lieutenant was right. 2 destroyers against 30 warships was suicide. But surrender meant death for the colonists who needed those medical supplies. "Negative. Get me a priority channel too." Earth Command, use the emergency frequency. Amy Carter worked quickly at her station. "Channel open, sir." "Emergency encryption active." Morrison took a deep breath. "Earth Command, this is Captain Morrison of the UES Defender. We are under attack by superior Zephyrian forces at Centauri Gateway. 30 enemy ships. We need immediate assistance." The message shot through space at the speed of light. It would take several minutes to reach Earth. Morrison wondered if he would live that long. "Human Commander," came a voice over the communications system. "This is Admiral Krixvar of the Zephyrian Empire. You are surrounded and outnumbered. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated according to galactic law." Morrison looked at Hayes on the communication screen. She shook her head. Neither captain wanted to surrender. "This is Captain Morrison. We need time to consider your offer. Give us 5 minutes to evacuate our wounded." Krixvar's laughter echoed. "Through space. 5 minutes? You think delay will save you? Very well, 5 minutes, then you die." The Zephyrian admiral cut the transmission. He turned to his aide, Commander Voss-Ron. "Let them have their time. It changes nothing. Soon the galaxy will see another human defeat." Morrison used the 5 minutes well. His message to Earth Command was already traveling through space. Deep in the Sol system, Admiral Kate Bishop received the distress signal at Fleet Operations. "How long until the 7th Fleet can reach Centauri?" she asked Colonel Ben Parker. 18 hours at maximum burn, ma'am." Bishop's face showed no emotion. "Not fast enough." She paused, then made a decision that would change everything. "Signal the Ghost Fleet. Tell them we have a priority alpha situation." The message went out on channels that officially did not exist. In the darkest reaches of space, 12 ships that the galaxy had never seen began to move. The Ghost Fleet was humanity's greatest secret. They were about to become the Zephyrian Empire's worst nightmare. Morrison watched the countdown timer. On his screen, 4 minutes remaining. He had done everything he could. Now he had to trust that help would come. The human convoy waited in the shadow of death. Surrounded by enemies who thought victory was certain, they were about to learn how wrong they were. The 5 minutes ended like a death sentence. Admiral Krixvar watched the timer on his command screen reach 0. The humans had used their time to prepare for death. Now death would come. "All ships, open fire," Krixvar commanded. Space lit up with weapons fire. Energy beams cut through the darkness like deadly lightning. Missiles streaked toward the human convoy like falling stars. The Zephyrian fleet attacked with perfect coordination. Captain Morrison felt the defender shake as enemy fire hit their shields. Return fire. Target their lead cruiser. The human destroyers fought back with everything they had. Their weapons were smaller than the Zephyrian guns, but they were accurate. The defender's main cannon sent a beam of pure energy into the hull of a Zephyrian destroyer. The enemy ship's shields flared bright blue. "Direct hit," reported Lieutenant Walsh. "Enemy shields down to 60%. Morrison nodded, but knew it was not enough. The Defender and Guardian were like 2 wolves fighting 30 lions. Courage could only do so much against overwhelming numbers. Captain Hayes aboard the Guardian coordinated the defense. Her ship moved to protect the cargo vessels. All cargo ships moved to the center of formation. Stay close together. The merchant ships obeyed quickly. Their captains were scared but trusted the Navy to protect them. Captain Roy Barnes of the cargo ship New Hope watched the battle through his bridge windows. His ship carried antibiotics that would save children in the colonies. He would not let them down. "Captain Barnes, we're taking fire," called his first officer, Lieutenant Carl Stone. "Hull breach on deck 7. Barnes felt his ship shake as Zephyrian weapons found their target. Seal the breach. Keep those medical supplies safe. The Zephyrian fleet moved with deadly skill. Captain Zeth Moore of the Void Render led the attack on the cargo ships. His battle cruiser was 3 times larger than the human destroyers. Its weapons could destroy a cargo ship with one shot. Target the lead merchant vessel, Zeth Moore ordered. Show the humans what happens to those who resist. The Void Render's main gun charged with energy. The weapon was designed to crack open space stations. A simple cargo ship would be nothing. Morrison saw the threat. Lisa, they're targeting the merchants. Hayes was already moving. The Guardian placed itself between the Void Render and the cargo ships. Not today, she said through gritted teeth. The Zephyrian weapon fired. The Guardian's shields took the full blast. The human ship's defenses held, but just barely. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Shields down to 20%, reported the Guardian's tactical officer. We can't take another hit like that. Hayes knew her ship was dying. But every second she bought was another second for help to arrive. Keep firing. Make them pay for every shot. Commander Yixtal led his destroyer squadron in a flanking attack. His ships moved fast, trying to get behind the human escorts. The plan was simple: attack from all sides. Give the humans no escape. Human ships are holding formation, reported Yixtal's tactical officer. They're not trying to run. Yixtal felt respect for his enemies. The humans were outnumbered, but they fought with honor. It was almost sad to kill such brave warriors. Continue the attack. Focus fire on their engines. Cripple them first. The Zephyrian destroyers opened fire. Their weapons were designed to disable rather than destroy. A quick death was too merciful. For humans who dared to resist the Empire, aboard the Defender, Morrison felt his ship dying around him. Main power flickered. The artificial gravity failed for several seconds. Smoke filled the bridge as control panels exploded. Hull breach on Deck 3, reported Damage Control. We're losing atmosphere, Morrison looked at the tactical display. The Guardian was in worse shape. Several cargo ships were damaged. The battle was lost, but the war was not over. Amy, any word from Earth Command? He asked. Sergeant Carter shook her head. Nothing yet, sir. The jamming is getting worse. Morrison made a decision that would save lives. Open a channel to the Zephyrian Admiral. The communication came through clearly. Admiral Krixvar appeared on the main screen. His alien face showed satisfaction. Ready to surrender, human? Krixvar asked. Morrison straightened his uniform. Even in defeat, he would show dignity. I want to discuss terms. There are no terms. You surrender completely or you die. Then give me more time to convince my people. Some of them want to fight to the end. Krixvar laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. More delay? You think someone will save you? Very well. 10 more minutes. Then we finish this. The transmission ended? Morrison had bought precious time, but time for what? The nearest human fleet was hours away. The convoy was alone. On the cargo ship New Hope, Captain Barnes listened to the Navy communications. He understood the situation. The destroyers were buying time with their lives. The least he could do was make sure that time was not wasted. All hands prepare for evacuation, Barnes ordered. If we're going down, we'll save as many people as we can. Similar scenes played out across the other cargo ships. Crews prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. They were ordinary people caught in an extraordinary situation. The Zephyrian fleet tightened its formation. Admiral Krixvar wanted to be certain of victory. His ships moved closer to the humans, ready to deliver the final blow. Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy readings, reported the sensor operator. Explain, Krixvar demanded. Unknown contacts at the edge of sensor range. Very faint. I count 12 objects. Krixvar studied the display. The readings were weak and unclear. Probably just space debris or asteroids. Maintain attack formation. Prepare to finish the humans. But deep in space, something was moving. Something that did not appear on normal sensors. Something that officially did not exist. Admiral Kate Bishop. Sut in her command center on Earth. The distress signal from Captain Morrison had reached her 20 minutes ago. The 7th Fleet was still hours away from Centauri Gateway. Any response from the Ghost Fleet? She asked Colonel Parker. Affirmative. They're en route, ETA 90 minutes, Bishop nodded. The Ghost Fleet was humanity's most secret weapon. 12 ships that could do things other ships could not? They were humanity's answer to impossible odds. Signal all commands. Priority Alpha is in effect. All assets are authorized. The message went out to every human base in the galaxy. Priority Alpha meant that humanity's survival was at stake. Every ship, every weapon, every secret would be used if necessary. Back at Centauri Gateway, Captain Morrison watched the countdown timer. 8 minutes remaining. The Guardian was barely functional. The Defender was not much better. The cargo ships were sitting ducks. "Sir, I'm picking up something strange," reported Lieutenant Walsh. "Long-range sensors are showing—" "I'm not sure what they're showing." Morrison moved to the sensor station. The readings were confusing. Something was out there, but the computers could not identify it. "Could be a sensor malfunction," Walsh suggested. Morrison shook his head. His instincts told him something was coming, something important. He just had to keep his people alive long enough to find out what. "All hands, prepare for a final battle," he announced over the ship's communication system. "We've done our duty. Now we see it through to the end." The human convoy waited in the shadow of death. Around them, 30 Zephyrian warships prepared to deliver the killing blow. The aliens thought victory was certain. They were about to learn that humans were never as helpless as they appeared. Help was coming from the darkest corners of space. The Ghost Fleet was almost ready to show the galaxy what real fear looked like. In the cold darkness beyond Pluto, 12 ships that did not exist on any official records received their orders. The Ghost Fleet had been waiting in the outer reaches of the solar system for 3 years. Today they would finally return to war. Fleet. Admiral Ryan Cross stood on the bridge of the UES Phantom. His ship was unlike anything in the known galaxy. The hull was black as space itself, seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange energy patterns moved across its surface like living things. "Admiral, we have priority Alpha orders." "From Earth Command," reported Commander Helen Brooks. "Zephyrian ambush at Centauri Gateway. Human convoy under attack. 30 enemy ships." Cross studied the message on his command screen. The numbers were bad, very bad. But the Ghost Fleet had been created for exactly this kind of situation. "Signal all ships. We jump in 60 seconds. Around the Phantom, 11 other vessels prepared for battle. Each ship was crewed by people who officially did not exist. They were volunteers who had been declared dead in previous battles. Their names had been removed from all records. Their families thought they were gone forever. Captain Sam Taylor commanded the UES Wraith. His ship could phase through solid matter like a ghost walking through walls. Taylor had died at the Battle of Proxima, or so the official record said. In reality, he had been recruited for something far more important. "Wraith ready for jump." Taylor reported, "All systems green." Captain Julia Stone led the UES Banshee. Her vessel could exist in multiple dimensions at once. Stone had been the best pilot in the human fleet before her supposed death at Vega Station. Now she was something. "More than human." "Banshee standing by," she said. "Weapons charged and ready." The other ships reported in one by one. The Spectre, commanded by Captain Alex Morgan, could manipulate time itself. The Revenant could become invisible to all sensors. The Shade could travel through subspace. Each vessel was a masterpiece of technology that pushed the limits of physics. "All ships report ready," Commander Brooks announced. Cross nodded. He had served in the human navy for 20 years before his official death. The Ghost Fleet was his second chance to serve humanity. He would not waste it. Begin jump sequence. Destination, Centauri Gateway. The 12 ships activated their experimental jump drives. Space twisted around them like a living thing. Reality bent and folded. The Ghost Fleet vanished from normal space. Traveling through dimensions that had no names. At Centauri Gateway, the situation was getting worse. The 10 minutes that Admiral Krixvar had given the humans were almost over. The Zephyrian fleet waited like hungry predators. Time remaining, 30 seconds, reported Subcommander Theises. Krixvar felt satisfied. The humans had used their time to send desperate messages to Earth. Help would not arrive in time. The convoy would be destroyed, and the galaxy would learn to fear the Zephyrian Empire once again. All ships prepare for final attack, leave no survivors. The Zephyrian fleet moved into perfect formation. Battle cruisers took position to destroy the cargo ships. Destroyers flanked the human escorts. Fighters swarmed around the formation like metal insects. Captain Morrison watched the enemy ships move closer. The Defender was barely holding together. Main power was failing. The shields were at 5%. He had done everything possible to save the convoy. "Any word from Earth Command?" he asked Sergeant Carter. "Nothing, sir." "The jamming is complete now," Morrison nodded. He had not expected help to arrive anyway. Earth was too far away. The Ghost Fleet was just a legend, a story told to frighten enemies. Such things did not exist in the real world. "All hands, prepare for final battle," he announced. "It has been an honor to serve with you." The crew of the Defender stood at their stations with pride. They would die as they had lived, doing their duty. The cargo ships they protected carried medicine that would save thousands of lives. That was worth dying for. Captain Hayes aboard the Guardian felt the same way. Her ship was in worse condition than the Defender. Half her crew was dead or wounded, but she would fight until the end. "Lisa, it's been good working with you," Morrison said over the communication channel. "Same here, Jake. See you on the other side." The timer reached 0. Admiral Krixvar raised his hand to give the final order. Around him, 30 warships prepared. To unleash destruction, all ships attack, destroy them all. The Zephyrian fleet opened fire. Space filled with energy beams and missiles. The human convoy was about to be wiped out. Then space itself seemed to scream. "Admiral, detecting massive energy distortions," reported the sensor operator aboard the Dominion's Edge. "Something is emerging from hyperspace." Krixvar turned to his tactical display. The readings were impossible. 12 new contacts were appearing from nowhere. But these were not normal ships. "Identification?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir. The ships are—" "They're not showing up correctly on our sensors. They keep appearing and disappearing." The Ghost Fleet materialized like death itself. The Use Phantom led the formation, its black hull seeming to drink in the light from nearby stars. The other ships followed in perfect order, their strange designs unlike anything in known space. "This is Fleet Admiral Cross of the Terran Defense Force," came a transmission on all frequencies. "Zephyrian Fleet, you are in violation of the Galactic Accord. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Krixvar stared at the viewing screen. 12 ships against 30. The humans had truly gone insane with desperation. "Impossible," he said. "How did they get here so fast?" "Admiral, our sensors cannot get a proper reading on these ships," reported the tactical officer. "They appear to be using technology we do not understand," Krixvar laughed. "Advanced technology or not, 12 ships could not defeat 30? All ships, destroy the new arrivals. Show them the price of challenging the Empire." The Zephyrian fleet turned to engage the Ghost Fleet, weapons charged, missiles armed. The battle was about to begin. Cross smiled coldly as he watched the enemy. Ships moved toward him. The Zephyrians had no idea what they were facing. The Ghost Fleet had been built with one purpose, to do things that were impossible. "All ships, engage cloaking systems. Show them what fear looks like." The Ghost Fleet vanished. 1 second, 12 warships filled the tactical displays of the Zephyrian fleet. The next second, they were gone, completely gone. The sensors showed empty space where the human ships had been. "Report," Krixvar demanded, his voice showing the first signs of worry. "Admiral, we have lost contact with the human ships. They are not showing up on any sensors. That is impossible. Ships cannot simply disappear. Sir, we are detecting energy signatures, but they are moving in ways that our computers cannot track. Panic began to spread through the Zephyrian fleet. Their enemies were invisible. How could they fight something they could not see? The first attack came without warning. The Zephyrian cruiser Stellar Dominion exploded in a ball of fire. 1 second. It was there, the next it was wreckage floating in space. No one saw what had hit it. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Krixvar ordered. Find those human ships. The Zephyrian fleet scattered, trying to avoid an enemy they could not locate. But the Ghost fleet was everywhere and nowhere. They struck from the shadows, attacking and vanishing before the enemy could respond, the destroyer. Night's Edge simply ceased to exist. One moment it was firing at empty space, the next it was gone without a trace. The crew had no time to scream. Captain Stone aboard the Banshee smiled as her ship phased through the hull of a Zephyrian battle. CRUICER. Her weapons fired from inside the enemy vessel, tearing it apart from within. Then she phased back into normal space, invisible to all sensors. Target destroyed, she reported to Admiral Cross, moving to next objective. The Ghost fleet was doing what it had been designed to do. They were showing the galaxy that humanity was not defenseless. They were proving that there were things in the universe that even the mighty Zephyrian Empire should fear. The tide of battle had turned. The hunters were about to become the hunted. The battle became a nightmare for the Zephyrian Empire. Ships exploded without warning. Crews died without seeing their killers. The mighty fleet that had seemed unstoppable minutes before was being torn apart by invisible ghosts. Admiral Krixvar watched in horror as another of his cruisers vanished in a ball of fire. The Void Piercer had been his strongest ship after the Dominion's Edge. Now it was nothing but burning metal floating in space. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. 7 confirmed destroyed, Admiral, reported Subcommander Theises. His voice shook with fear. 3 more are heavily damaged. We cannot locate the enemy. Captain Zethmore of the Void Render tried to maintain his position, but his crew was panicking. They were firing at empty space, hoping to hit something they could not see. "All weapons, continuous fire," Zethmore ordered. "Fill the space around us with energy." They cannot hide forever. The Zephyrian ships began firing in all directions. Energy beams cut through space like a deadly light show. Missiles exploded everywhere. They were wasting ammunition, but it was better than waiting to die. The Ghost fleet moved through the chaos like deadly spirits. Captain Alex Morgan aboard the UES Spectre activated his ship's time distortion field. The Zephyrian destroyer Thunder's Wake appeared in his sights. "Target locked," reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Tony Miller. "Time field ready." "Engage," Morgan ordered. The Spectre's special weapon hit the Thunder's Wake. Time itself became a weapon. The enemy ship aged 1,000 years in 10 seconds. Metal corroded, systems failed. The crew died of old age in moments. The ship crumbled to dust. "Another one down," Morgan reported to Admiral Cross. "These aliens are learning what fear feels like." Captain Sam Taylor of the UES Wraith used a different approach. His ship could phase through solid matter. He flew the Wraith directly through the hull of the Zephyrian cruiser Dark Star. "Phase cannon ready," reported his gunner. "Fire from inside their ship," Taylor ordered. The Wraith's weapons fired while the ship was inside the enemy vessel. The Dark Star exploded from within. The Wraith phased back to normal space before the explosion could touch it. Commander Yixtal watched his destroyer squadron fall apart. Half his ships were gone. The others were firing blindly at nothing. His own ship, the Stormblade, shook as invisible weapons hit its shields. "All ships retreat to minimum safe distance," he ordered, but there was no safe distance. The Ghost fleet was everywhere. They struck from above, below, and all sides. They appeared just long enough to kill, then vanished again. Captain Morrison aboard the battered Defender watched the battle in amazement. The mysterious ships were destroying the Zephyrian fleet with impossible ease. He had never seen anything like it. "Sir, should we help them?" asked Lieutenant Walsh. Morrison shook his head. Our weapons would not even scratch those Zephyrian ships. Let the professionals handle this. Captain Hayes on the Guardian felt the same way. Her ship was barely functional, but she was safe now. The Ghost Fleet had arrived just in time. Jake, who are those people? She asked over the communication channel. I have no idea, Morrison replied. But I am very glad they are on our side. Admiral Cross watched the battle from the bridge of the Phantom. His ships were performing perfectly. The Zephyrian fleet was being destroyed with minimal effort. But he wanted to send a message, not just win a battle. All ships maintain pressure but do not destroy them all, he ordered. Leave enough survivors to spread the word. The Ghost Fleet adjusted their attack. Instead of complete destruction, they focused on disabling enemy ships. The message was clear: humanity could destroy you, but chooses mercy, the Zephyrian battle. Cruiser Iron Fist lost its main weapons when the UES Revenant materialized next to it. The human ship fired once, then vanished. The Iron Fist was crippled but alive. Captain Julia Stone of the UES Banshee phased through 3 enemy destroyers in sequence. Each one lost its engines to her weapons. They were helpless but not destroyed. Admiral Krixvar realized his fleet was finished. Of 30 ships, only 9 were still functional. The rest were destroyed or crippled. His perfect trap had become his greatest defeat. Admiral, we must retreat, urged Commander Vossran. We cannot fight what we cannot see? Krixvar's pride fought against his survival instinct. The Zephyrian Empire had never retreated from humans before, but the Empire needed him alive to tell this story. All remaining ships, fall back to Rally Point 7, he ordered. Emergency jump now. The surviving Zephyrian ships began to retreat. Their jump drives charged slowly while the Ghost Fleet watched. The human ships could have destroyed them all, but they held back. The UES Phantom materialized directly in front. Of the Dominion's edge, Admiral Krixvar found himself staring at a human warship that looked like living shadow. Weapon ports opened along its hull like hungry mouths. Admiral Krixvar, came Admiral Cross's voice over the communication system. You wanted to remind the galaxy that your empire was not to be underestimated. Consider this our reminder that humanity is not to be threatened. The Phantom's main weapon charged with energy that made space itself bend. Krixvar waited for death, but the human ship did not fire. You have one chance, Cross continued. Take your remaining ships back to Zephyrian space. Tell your empire what you have seen here. Warn them that Earth's protection extends to all. Human vessels and colonies, the alien admiral understood. The humans were showing mercy, but it came with a price. He would have to return home and admit total defeat. Test us again, Cross said, and next time we will not be so generous. The Phantom began to fade from sight. Soon it was completely invisible again. Krixvar knew the human ship was still there, waiting to see what he would do. All ships, immediate retreat, he ordered. Return to home space at maximum speed. The 7 surviving Zephyrian ships jumped away from Centauri Gateway. They left behind the wreckage of 23 destroyed vessels. The greatest fleet the Empire had assembled in decades was gone. Captain Morrison watched the enemy ships disappear. The battle was over, the convoy was safe, but he had more questions than answers. Admiral Cross, this is Captain Morrison of the UES Defender. Thank you for the rescue. Who are you people? Cross's voice came back calm and steady. Officially, Captain, we do not exist. Unofficially, we are the reason the galaxy fears to cross humanity. The Ghost Fleet began to fade from sight once more. One by one, the mysterious ships became invisible. Soon the space around the convoy looked empty again. Will we see you again? Morrison asked. When humanity needs us, we will be there, Cross replied. Take care of those medical supplies, Captain. People are counting on you. The communication ended. The Ghost Fleet was gone as suddenly as it had appeared. Only the floating wreckage of the Zephyrian ships proved the battle had been real. Captain Hayes aboard the Guardian began damage reports. Her ship would need major repairs, but her crew was alive. The cargo ships were safe. The mission could continue. Jake, what do we tell Earth Command about this? She asked. Morrison thought about it. The Ghost Fleet was clearly classified beyond his security level. Some secrets were meant to stay secret. "We tell them the truth," he said. "Unknown human vessels responded to our distress call and saved the convoy. We do not know who they were." The convoy began moving again toward the outer colonies. The medical supplies would reach their destination. Lives would be saved. And across the galaxy, word would spread about what had happened at Centauri Gateway. The Zephyrian Empire had learned a hard lesson. Humanity was not as defenseless as it appeared. There were forces in the darkness that even mighty empires should fear. The Ghost Fleet had done its job. The galaxy would remember this day. The silence after the battle was almost as shocking as the battle itself. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defender, looking at the empty space where 30 enemy warships had been minutes before. Now only floating wreckage remained, along with the occasional emergency beacon from disabled Zephyrian vessels. "Sir, all cargo ships report minimal damage," Lieutenant Walsh announced. "The convoy is intact." Morrison felt relief wash over him. The medical supplies would reach the colonies. Children would live because of what happened here today. That made everything worthwhile. "Begin rescue operations," he ordered. "Any Zephyrian survivors get medical treatment according to galactic law." The crew of the Defender worked quickly to help wounded enemies. It was the human way. Even after a brutal battle, they showed mercy to those who had tried to kill them. Captain Hayes contacted Morrison from the Guardian. Her ship was in worse condition, but her crew was working hard to make repairs. "Jake, I keep thinking about those ships," she said. "Where did they come from? How did they do what they did?" Morrison had been wondering the same thing. Ships that could become invisible? Weapons that aged metal to dust? Vessels that could pass through solid matter like ghosts? Such technology seemed impossible. "I do not know," he replied. "I am glad they were on our side." The cargo ship New Hope approached the wreckage of a Zephyrian destroyer. Captain Barnes could see life pods floating in space. Enemy sailors, who moments before had been trying to kill him. "This is New Hope to all rescue pods," Barnes transmitted. "We are coming to get you. Do not be afraid." The Zephyrian survivors were confused. Why were the humans helping them? In their empire, defeated enemies were usually left to die. This kindness was harder to understand than the mysterious weapons. Lieutenant Carl Stone, Barnes's first officer, helped pull a wounded Zephyrian officer aboard their ship. The alien was young, probably no older than 20 in human years. "Why do you help us?" the Zephyrian asked in broken English. "We tried to kill you," Barnes smiled sadly. "Because it is the right thing to do? War is over for today." Word of the battle spread quickly through the galaxy's communication networks. The defeat of a major Zephyrian fleet by mysterious human vessels became the biggest news story in years on the Zephyrian homeworld. Admiral Krixvar stood before the High Council. His uniform was torn, his pride shattered. He had to explain how 30 ships had been destroyed by an enemy that could not be seen. "The humans have weapons beyond our understanding," he reported. "Ships that can disappear, weapons that manipulate time itself. Our fleet was helpless against them." Council leader Vexmore studied the battle recordings. The grainy images showed Zephyrian ships exploding while nothing visible attacked them. It looked like magic, not technology. "You speak of ghost ships," Vexmore said. "Such things do not exist." "I saw them with my own eyes," Krixvar replied. "The humans have been hiding their true strength. We underestimated them badly." The council debated for hours. Some wanted revenge. Others wanted to understand how such weapons were possible. But all agreed on one thing: the Zephyrian Empire would not attack human convoys again anytime soon. In the deep space beyond Earth's solar system, the Ghost Fleet returned to its secret base. The 12 ships that officially did not exist docked at a station that appeared on no maps. Admiral Cross walked through the corridors of the hidden facility. His mission was complete, but he felt no satisfaction. Every battle reminded him of the cost of war. Commander Brooks approached him with a data pad. "Final battle report, Admiral. No casualties on our side. 23 enemy ships destroyed, 7 escaped. Cross nodded. Their ghost fleet had performed perfectly. But he wondered what price humanity would pay for revealing such advanced technology. "What are your orders, sir?" Brooks asked. "Stand down to normal alert status. Begin maintenance on all ships. We wait for the next crisis." The ghost fleet would return to the shadows, watching and waiting. They were humanity's ultimate weapon, but also its greatest secret. The galaxy could never know the full extent of their abilities. On Earth, Admiral Bishop received Morrison's after-action report. She read it carefully, noting every detail. The convoy had been saved, but questions remained. "Colonel Parker, what is our official response to media inquiries about the battle?" she asked. Parker consulted his notes. "Standard response, ma'am. Unknown human vessels assisted in repelling the Zephyrian attack. No further details available due to operational security." Bishop smiled. The ghost fleet's secret was safe. The galaxy would know that humanity had powerful defenders, but not exactly what those defenders could do. Captain Morrison finally reached the outer colonies 3 days later. The medical supplies were distributed quickly to hospitals and clinics. Dr. Mary Wilson, the chief medical officer at New Terra Colony, personally thanked him. "Captain, these antibiotics will save over 2,000 children," she said. "Whatever happened out there, you made it possible for these kids to live." Morrison felt proud of his crew. The Defender had been repaired enough to complete the mission. The Guardian would need major work, but Captain Hayes had gotten her people home safely. The story of the battle spread through human space like wildfire. Merchant captains felt safer knowing that mysterious protectors watched over them. Pirates and raiders became more careful about attacking human ships. In cantinas and spaceports across the galaxy, the tale grew with each telling. Some said the Ghost Fleet had 1,000 ships. Others claimed they could destroy planets with a single shot. The truth was less important than the fear it created. The Kothari Trade Federation canceled plans to intercept human cargo vessels. The Vegan Republic withdrew complaints about human expansion into disputed territory. Even the mighty Centauran Empire reconsidered its aggressive policies toward Earth colonies. Fear was a powerful weapon. Sometimes it prevented wars better than any battleship. Admiral Krixvar spent his remaining years writing reports about human military capabilities. He warned anyone who would listen that Earth was far more dangerous than it appeared. Most ignored his warnings, but some listened. The survivors of his fleet told their own stories. Tales of ships that could walk through walls, weapons that turned time into a weapon, vessels that appeared from nowhere and vanished like smoke. The stories spread fear throughout the Zephyrian military. Captain Morrison eventually retired from the Navy. He never learned the true identity of the ships that saved his convoy. Sometimes he wondered if they had been real at all, or just a desperate dream in his darkest hour. But on quiet nights, when he looked up at the stars, he felt comforted. Somewhere out there, invisible guardians watched over humanity. The Ghost Fleet was waiting in the darkness, ready to protect those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy had learned an important lesson at Centauri Gateway. Humanity might appear peaceful and weak, but appearances could be deadly. Earth had secrets that even its enemies could not imagine. The Ghost Fleet remained hidden, but their message was clear. Attack human ships at your own risk. The consequences might be far worse than death. They might be facing something that should not exist, but the battle was over, but its effects would last for generations. The galaxy was a safer place for humans, and a more dangerous place for those who threatened them. In the end, the Zephyrians had been right about one thing. The battle had been theirs, right up until the moment Earth's most feared fleet appeared. After that, nothing was ever the same.